Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. I make videos about social work, wellness, career, and business. If you're interested in any of those topics, definitely subscribe and stay tuned. All right, so we're gonna jump right into this video. This video is going to be about how you can find your niche in the social impact space when you are multi-passionate. I have made several videos where I talk about how it's important to find your niche and your specific expertise in social work when you are trying to develop a meaningful career for yourself and figure out how to market yourself and get those top social impact sector jobs. When I am coaching individuals, they have a very general goal of wanting to help society, to push society forward, to positively impact the world. But this sentiment and this goal is not enough to build a thriving career. When you have this thought process and you don't get clarity on what your strengths, talent, and purpose is in the field of social work or the social impact space, that's going to leave you in a position where you are a generalist and you don't know how to market yourself to job prospects. I don't want you guys to be in that situation. I want you to be able to market yourselves and land jobs that will give you financial freedom, flexibility, and peace of mind. I don't want you to have to take whatever you can get, even if that means you end up in a stressful job with high burnout, lack of resources, and lack of support. Often these are the jobs that generalists end up having to take, or these are the kind of jobs that people work when they are in the very beginning stages of their career. Now, I understand sometimes at the beginning stage when you're building your portfolio and when you are developing your expertise, these kind of jobs may be a good option, but I don't want us to have to work in these positions for very long. So one way to really get out of that cycle of working these kind of jobs is by developing your niche and your expertise so you can sell yourself and have leverage to be competitive. That's really what you need in this job market. I say all that, but I am also a pretty multi-passionate person. I have a lot of interest, a lot of areas that I want to explore, and I know a lot of social workers are the same way. By nature, social workers are very passionate individuals, and we're always the ones in the middle of it all, wanting to learn it all, wanting to know it all, etc. But there comes a time when you have to make a choice and you have to figure out how to find a niche that you're going to go in, even when you are multi-passionate and multi-talented. So I want to talk about how you can go about doing that. This is very good information, you guys. It's something that's not really talked about often in our field, so you definitely want to stick around to the end to get all of this information. So as a recap, what the heck is a niche anyway? A niche is a specific area that you are dedicating your time, energy into in your field, where you are working with the population that you are most interested in and using a specific set of skills and talents to support this population. That's what a niche is. There are so many different types of niches you can choose in the social impact sector, but to discover what your niche is, you have to know who you're trying to help and how you're going to help them. That's all. It's very simple, you guys. But how can you, as a multi-passionate person, still feel like you're able to tap into your different interests and your different passions, even though you're narrowing in and focusing on one niche? One way you can do this is by choosing a niche or a sector of social work that is interdisciplinary. So choose a field that's going to allow you to tap into different interests, a field that's not going to make you feel like you're stuck in a box. And one way you can tell what career path is interdisciplinary and will allow you to do this is by exploring the teams that tend to work together in this area. If the team is multidisciplinary and it has people from different disciplines and they're working together to create a program or a project, or by doing some type of community initiative, then that is probably an interdisciplinary sector that will allow you to tap into your curiosity and tap into different interests that you have. So for example, if you are a medical social worker, you're working with nurses, you're working with doctors, you're working with other hospital admin, and most likely on a day-to-day basis when you're working, you're going to be learning different skills and techniques from all of these individuals. Being a school social worker, you're going to be working with teachers, you're going to be working with school admin, and working with a variety of different people can help you to stay engaged and interested in the work, even though you are niching down. Do a little bit of research to learn more about the day-to-day life of working in a specific field and see what the team dynamics usually compose of, and whether or not that is interdisciplinary enough to make you excited and to help you to dabble in the different passions or interests that you may have. Okay, another way that you can narrow in on your niche, even if you're multi-passionate, is by doing your market research. And I know this option is a little bit more boring, but it's really important. Let's say you have 4 areas of social work that you are so passionate about and that you would just love to work in. You're so interested in school social work, but you're also interested in working with kids in the foster care system. And then you also have this interest of doing community outreach for the homeless population. These are 3 pretty distinct and different areas in social work. One thing you can do is just go do market research, figure out how in demand all of these areas are, do some research on what the typical salary is for all of these areas, and then make your decision based on that. Because even if you are interested in all 3 of these areas, but maybe you do research and you find out that, and I'm making this up, but that this is an area that is declining and they're not hiring as many social workers to do this work anymore. Having that knowledge can empower you to choose one of the other areas that you are interested in. Yes, it's about what you most feel aligned with, but we're talking about a career here, right? And you have to be very smart about how you navigate it. Sometimes you may find yourself having to make a decision that doesn't 100% align with your ultimate passion, just based on what the need is for, someone with those kind of skill sets. I know for social workers, this can kind of be a hard thing to think about because we're in the field because of our passion and our specific interest. But we're also in the field and we're in any career to make a living and sustain ourselves as well. You always have to be weighing both of those things and trying to find a balance between the two. If you don't want to weigh salary as high on the scale as other people may, you don't have to. But I think it's something important to consider when you are narrowing in on what your niche will be. Another way you could be a multi-passionate individual, but still choose and narrow in on what your niche is going to be is by being okay with, like I said before, choosing a path that may be an 80% match with your interest and your passions and skills instead of an 100% match, and doing different hobbies and projects on the side to kind of make up for the lack. And a good example of this would be what I'm currently doing right now. So with my 9-to-5 working in the foundation space, the philanthropy space, I would say it is probably about a 70-80% match with my talents, skills, and interest, depending on the day. But one thing that I found early on that was lacking from this area is that one-on-one intimate time working with clients or working with the people that I'm hoping to help. When you're doing more macro social work like I do, you kind of miss out on that a little bit. You don't get as much one-on-one time with your clients because you're doing a lot of behind the scenes work, a lot of admin work. So that was something that I really missed. So that's actually one reason I started doing career coaching, because it still gives me that intimate one-on-one environment with people, and I'm still able to have that sit down one-on-one time with the people that I want to help. So yeah, your full-time job doesn't have to be 100% aligned with all of your interests and passions. And to be honest, I think sometimes we put too much pressure on having our job be our everything, or to be that thing that's going to help us to be 100% fulfilled. But no job is going to do that for you. And honestly, you shouldn't be relying on your job to be that for you. If you are, there may be a chance that there are some gaps or missing pieces in your personal life that you may want to consider building out and further developing. Maybe you need to look into some kind of group activity that you can be a part of, or if you love biking, meeting up with other bikers and, using some of your free time toward other areas in your life that you enjoy. Or maybe you need to build closer relationships with your family and friends. One thing I've learned from traveling and from living in different places in the past is that in the United States, we often put such a big emphasis on work. We really live to work instead of working to live. And our whole identity is tied up into our jobs and our career. Now, I don't think it's a problem if, a big part of your identity is your career, especially as social workers, because what we do is so passion oriented. It only makes sense, but I just don't think that your whole identity should be tied up into your career. So I am all for the thinking of choosing a niche that may not be everything you need or everything you desire or meet your passions 100%. Let's say that you're very passionate about working with the elderly population and you end up with a social work job working in geriatrics at a hospital. You still may not be able to help out the elderly population in all the ways that you want to, because your job is very specific to certain projects and your job has different priorities. So if you need to volunteer at a community center with the elderly population on weekends or develop some type of advocacy project on behalf of the elderly population to really feel that you're helping them in all of the ways that you want, go ahead and do so. So when you hear me talk about how important it is to find your niche in your social work career, this is not me telling you that you have to give up on all of your other passions and all of your other interests and just focus on this one thing. So yes, you can do it all. You can be multi-talented, but you probably can't do it all at your 9-to-5 job. Another tip for multi-passionate individuals when it comes to finding your niche is by working for a smaller organization. Because when you work in a big organization or, a huge nonprofit or a huge firm, usually everyone has very specified tasks and duties and areas that they're focused on. But when you're working for a smaller organization, usually it's kind of an all hands on deck approach. Everyone on the team has to support their other colleagues, no matter what areas their colleagues work in, just to keep the ship moving. I remember back when I used to work at a smaller nonprofit, I worked in the student services department, but I was supporting the admissions team. I was supporting the academic advisors. I was even sometimes supporting our executive director with coming up with annual planning and, developing the overall nonprofit calendar for the upcoming year. If you work at a larger firm, most likely there's going to be stronger delineations between one team member or one department and the other. So you're not really going to be able to dabble in a bunch of different areas. So if you are someone who is interested in a lot of different things or always want to be learning and engaging in different areas, maybe working for a smaller organization is a better fit for you. The last thing I want to say to you multi-passionate people out there who are trying to figure out what your niche is that you don't have to have the same niche for all of your career, right? I'm not telling you that you have to graduate with your MSW at 23 and then work in one niche or one area until you retire at 65. It's totally okay to have one niche or one focus for 4 years and then choose another niche or focus and then work in that area for 5 years. This is a very common thing for professionals to do. Yes, you may need some additional training or experience to move from one niche to the next, but it's not impossible and people do it all the time. But most likely, if you're someone who wants to have several niches over the span of your career, that probably means you're someone who loves growing and learning. So taking that extra certification course or getting that additional training needed to transition to a different niche is probably going to be right up your alley and something that you're interested in anyway. So no, you guys, I'm not saying that you have to have one niche for all of your career. But what I am saying is that it is important for social workers and other change makers to get specific and focused on what their area of expertise and what their niche is. So when they're talking to people about their ideal jobs, they're able to explain more than just wanting to work in a job where they can help people or support people. They can get more specific and say, hey, I want to work with X, Y, and Z population, and these are the skills I want to dedicate to working with this population. I want to help this population by doing research. I want to help this population by developing programs. I want to help to provide grant dollars for this population. Whatever that method is that you want to help the population that you care about, I think it's really important for you to get clear on that and to get clear on the profile of the people that you actually want to help and make a difference for. So hopefully this video has encouraged you to do some research on what your niche is, and also to just let you know not to be discouraged about finding your niche or narrowing in on a specific area, because it doesn't have to equal the end of the world. There are ways that those who are multi-passionate can still find their niche and develop a strategic career plan for themselves. And if you're interested in learning more about how I help clients to do this, or if you even want to be one of my clients in the future, I do provide career coaching where I help people to find their niche and narrow in on what their passions are. So definitely go to my website to learn more. The link will be in the description box. If you have any questions or comments on this video, please leave them in the comment section. And on that note, I will talk to you guys in my next video. See you soon.